Good afternoon, everybody. I won't quite start for a couple of minutes, just a few more people that are due to sign in. Quite a few people have already joined, so thank you very much. So just give it another minute or so and then we'll start. And thank you for attending. If there are any sound problems or anything like that, my colleague Chris is on the line, and if you raise it via chat or a question, we can try and sort things out. Thank you. Right then. Let's get started. I think most people are on now. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending our Nebula Security Gateway webinar today. My name is Nigel Canning. I'm one of the sales engineers at Zyxel. I cover the South. I joined a few months back. You may have already known my colleague Daniel Marsh. He covers the North. But we will be doing the sort of regular webinars every few weeks now if you want to touch base on the Zyxel webinar site and see what's going on. My colleague Chris is helping me out on questions and any chat. So if you've got any questions, by all means, type them up on the questions box, and then we'll get to them at the end. But Chris will acknowledge them as well, so at least you know that they haven't been missed. So anyway, here we go. So what we wanted to get across is one of the key things with the Security Gateway is that it's a fundamental part of Nebula. So the whole Nebula management solution is it consists of a number of parts. So basically, you've got things like the Security Gateway, you've got the switches, you've got the whole central cloud management solution, a single pane of glass web management, and you've also got app-based control as well. But the gist of it is it's all centrally managed from the Nebula Cloud service. It isn't on-premise management, and I think that's a key point we need to get across to everybody. So as I said, it's a centralized and unified platform. There are no software or hardware controllers needed just for management. Obviously, the hardware devices are on-premise, and the whole solution covers wired, wireless, and security functionality. One of the big benefits of it is the zero-touch provisioning, which you'll see a little bit later on. So you can do a lot of that provisioning either within your own IT facilities and then ship it to the customer, or if you plan it properly and you have the various serial numbers and so on and so forth, you can ship it to site, get it installed simply, and then it comes up. And that's one of the biggest benefits, to be honest. One thing we do need to point out also, it's free cloud management. There are no upfront costs. There are professional pack licenses, which do cost more, but that's only if you need those features. So licensing and so on and so forth will hopefully become a bit clearer later on. So hopefully this slide, it actually gives a sort of physical representation of what the components are. This is the actual gateway. These are the actual switches. And you can see obviously access points, the mobile app, and you can see the actual, whoops, sorry, shouldn't have clicked on my presentation. Apologies everybody, make sure it goes back. The Nebula Control Center is the web-based interface for managing it, which probably most people spend their time in. And the other screens are just examples of what you can see. But the key thing is central web management. You've got access points, switches, and gateways, and everything is done and managed from the cloud. Here we go. So although it starts off quite simply, from the presentation point of view, one of the things we want to get across is that it is literally as simple as unboxing your products, scanning in a QR code, putting it into your account on Nebula, and that device, once it connects to the internet, will be up and running within your environment. And it literally is as simple as that. So I apologize for this slide where somehow everyone's going to be sitting there with their feet up. Obviously not quite the case, but it is very simple. And with the centralized management, you can literally do it from your desk easily. One of the things a lot of people ask is the app that easy as well? It is. So once you've got your account and you've got the app online, you can basically do basic management and basic fault finding from within the app as well. So wherever you can get 4G or 3G internet connectivity, you can manage devices, manage users, and do basic fault finding, so from anywhere in the world, basically. Another really useful feature is that basically the mobile app will allow you to manage users, manage basic security features, literally, as I've just said, from anywhere. So sometimes if you've got a quick issue that's been raised, you can fix it on your app, wherever you might be. Another useful feature that Nebula offers, configuration changes and firmware updates and all of the sort of quite involved support type features are all taken care of over the air. And you can schedule things, you can do it manually, you can do it on a per site basis, you can do it on a per device basis, all to help you simplify your working life. Okay. Various other things become a lot more simple than they ever are in a more sophisticated environment. Basically, things like site-to-site VPNs. One of the things you can do with a security gateway, if you've got security gateways at each office or at each hub or whatever, you can do virtually single click sort of site-to-site VPN just from within the Nebula Control Center. Much simpler. You don't have to be involved with phase 1 and phase 2 timeouts and sophisticated VPN parameters. Nebula abstracts all of that complexity and makes it sort of GUI clickable, much more simple. The other thing we're moving into now, this is probably more of the guts of it really, is that it's a multi-tenant type solution within Nebula. So how you structure your organization and how you structure your sites, it matters. That way, if you have a structured environment, you can delegate individual management to different organizations or different people. So if you do want to run a managed service type solution, the Nebula, should we say, the Nebula structures map to what you would like from a managed service provider environment, all within a single pane of glass. It'll become a little bit clearer further on, but it's a very important point at this point. So as the title says, you've got multiple levels, multiple roles, multiple sites, so on and so forth. If you see over on the right hand side at the top, you've got the organizational structure. And then after that, so you can choose an organization, and then within that organization, you make multiple sites. And then you can map your own logical structures to the Nebula Cloud configuration. So multiple roles, multiple levels, multiple organizations, multiple sites. And obviously what you can see on here is that basically, obviously each site can be geographically displayed on the screen. So if there are any events or if there are any health issues, you just look at a nice simple Google map type structure. Any issues will be flagged with amber or red. And obviously if it's all green, then you know everything's all right. But once again, it's a far more simpler, centralized view of all of your IT infrastructure. You don't have to connect to each site via site-to-site VPN or remote access or anything like that. You've got this central pane of management, and you can see all your structures, all your sites easily on the screen. So this simple screen is effectively what you get when you first log into the Nebula Control Center. You can see that you've got your access points, you've got your switches, you've got your gateways, you've got things like the traffic summary, you've got your top client usage, but basically it's a very simple, clear display of where you are. And you can then just start drilling down. So you select your organization, you select your site, drill down into the access points, drill down into the gateways. It's all fairly intuitive. If you've got a very large organization, you can use the search facilities to go and search for things. Obviously, the information that's being collected is in real time. It's important to point out that we don't look at any personal traffic. None of that personal traffic gets sent up to the Nebula cloud. It's only source and destination type IPs from the point of view of what application usage is and so on and so forth. Oh, and the other thing, obviously, always we're trying to point out that it is free. The basic features of Nebula are free. They will always be free. A lot of people ask, are you ever going to take that away? No, we're not. The basic features are free and always will be. So once again, this is just showing that basically the full range of Nebula consists of the security gateway, switches, as well as like GS1920 switches or Nebula Flex switches and wireless access points. More and more products as they come out, they will also be Nebula capable as well or standalone, but the range is only going to increase over time. Obviously, we mentioned earlier on that the basic solution is free. Obviously, there are additional professional pack licenses which you can add, which add more value. There'll be some more detail on each features later on, and there's some handouts at the end of the presentation which gives you much greater detail of what the professional pack offers and what the security pack offers. But these are packs that basically offer more value. Okay. So the professional pack. Now the professional pack basically is providing professional features within the Nebula Control Center environment. The packs themselves are based on being relevant to an access point or a switch or to the security gateway, but they actually control the feature set of the control center. So these are basically some of the features in relation to network auditing and visualization that the professional pack provides. So what you'll see is instead of the free period being 7 days, you get a year's worth of statistics and information and event and so on and so forth that's being collected. You get much more sophisticated alerting, email alerts, and you can get application push notification. So as I mentioned earlier on, if you've got an app and you're out and about, you can set up an alert for, say, a particular access point being down, or if a certain very important client loses connectivity, you can get notification for that. Because you've got a lot more information with 365 days of logging and statistics, you can do a lot more reporting. And these reports can help you find out issues or maybe bandwidth usage, or if you visit if your account manager visits a customer once a quarter, you could run a report that is useful to your account manager to take to your customer and engage in a much better manner. You can also have customized reports that are automatically emailed out. So if you've come to some agreement, which is, how much bandwidth is being used, what applications are being used a lot, like Facebook or too much Spotify or something like that, you can have a report that is automatically sent out once a week, once a month to your customer or whatever. The other thing, obviously, with this professional feature license, you can export the data to a spreadsheet or some other analytical environment. There's some very nice automatic drawing facilities, basically, so you can see the structure of your network much more easily. And that also applies to VPN topologies as well. It does make life a lot easier, basically, the professional license. Another thing that people aren't necessarily aware of is with the professional license, applying it to a switch and to the security gateway, you can do individual bandwidth control on links and ports and users. So if you've got a shared office type environment or a multi-dwelling unit and you want to control the bandwidth to rooms or an individual person or a floor, with the professional license, you've got a lot more granular bandwidth control, which is quite a sophisticated feature, which a lot of people, particularly in the multi-dwelling and the shared office space environment, are going for at the moment. Some other features that are very useful is that if you've got a sophisticated configuration, maybe you've built up for an office or even a hotel or something like that, and you've then got another opportunity, you can create a template from that configuration and then apply that template to the next office or the next hotel or whatever. And it makes the amount of work you need to do infinitely smaller. All you've got to do is tweak location settings, maybe port names and stuff like that. But the professional license enables these template type facilities. And you can also clone configurations, and you can also provide backup and restore facilities as well. So basically you can have restore points back to a certain date, a certain time, so that if perhaps you've got somebody that is going to be making some temporary changes, you make a backup at that point, apply the changes, and then at some future date, if you need to roll back when those networking changes are removed, it's very easy to do. So the professional pack, as I mentioned, is all to do with the Nebula Control Center extra features. The security pack applies to the security gateway only, and this should become clearer. So the security pack offers antivirus, content filtering, application intelligence and control, so filtering out things like Facebook, the usual intrusion detection and prevention, and it has various reporting and analytic tools that are part of the Nebula Control Center as well. But so this license for the security gateway is different to the professional license, which applies to the Nebula Control Center. So what does application awareness provide? When you go to the gateway or you go to the site-wide view, what you see is immediately is a pie chart of where the bandwidth is being used, how much data is going to each protocol, and you get a top 10, a top 5, and then you can just drill down, but you can quite easily see where the bandwidth is being used via application awareness. So you don't have to worry about understanding network protocols and TCP ports and so on and so forth. You see it as a much more simplified view. So it's basically Facebook, Skype, Microsoft file share, that sort of thing. Another very useful thing is to help you understand internet usage. You can basically look at what sites are being used and accessed the most, what the percentages are. You can look at that from the last day, from the last 7 days, the last month, however long you've been collecting it, obviously up to a year. And you can see what IP address has gone to that site, what the time of that access is, and create reports and drill down. So if there is anything untoward going on, very straightforward to find out. Obviously, a key thing is still antiviruses. So you can basically see when it occurred, how many of them you've picked up, what the time is, so on and so forth. Obviously, these antivirus signatures are automatically updated from the Nebula Cloud, as you would expect. This slide here is just trying to show you the differences between the free Nebula, the professional pack license features, and obviously the security pack. And as I said, this is on a handout at the end, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But you can see how the free pack offers the zero-touch deployment, automatic updates, the centralized captive portal, a huge number of features. It is free, excuse me. And then you start to see in the middle what the professional pack features bring to the table as well. So a lot of it's to do with additional logging and event information, as I said earlier on, much more sophisticated email alerting and reporting and push alerts. Things like an unlimited number of administration accounts. If you use things like captive portals, there's an unlimited number of users on the captive portal. One thing that's very useful that's just come out in the latest release of Nebula is, and it's down the bottom there, it's Wi-Fi health reporting. If you've got fairly up-to-date Zyxel access points, the health reporting features allows you to show the quality of the Wi-Fi network across the premises. And you can quite easily see any issues building up. And that is a really useful feature that a lot of people are asked for, that's now deployed and is starting to roll out. The security pack, as I said, it's a separate license to the professional pack, and its role is in things like application intelligence, so understanding which applications like Facebook, file shares, Spotify that's being used. Obviously, it keeps your intrusion detection signatures, your antivirus signatures up to date. And obviously, content filtering allows you to strip out attachments, strip out certain things like, Adobe Flash and that sort of thing, things that could cause security issues. And it also provides sophisticated reporting facilities within the platform as well. Because licensing can be, and we do understand it can be quite confusing, we're just trying to come up with another graphic to help basically. So obviously Nebula Free plus the professional pack annual or lifetime plus the security pack annual is the full solution, but then you can break it down to what is appropriate to you. From a security gateway point of view, you do need to have the security pack and you do need to have the professional pack, and that comes with the security gateway for 1 year in the upfront purchase. But other devices like access points and switches and so on and so forth, you don't have to have the professional pack, and the security pack doesn't apply to access points or switches. So hopefully that will be a little bit clearer. These are the actual devices. So there are 4 devices, and as you can see, you've got the NSG 50, the NSG 100, the NSG 200, and the next slide will show you the 300. But essentially, the differences are the number of LAN interfaces, the number of WAN interfaces, obviously the stateful packet inspection firewall throughput, going from 300, 450, 1250, the antivirus and intrusion detection scan rates, so 50 meg, 90 meg, 300 meg, and obviously things like the VPN throughput goes up as well. Now, it's worth pointing out that the WAN interface count and the LAN interface count, on the 50, the 100, and the 200, you've got 1 WAN interface, 2 WAN interfaces, 2 WAN interfaces with 4 LANs, 4 LANs, and 5 LANs. The interfaces that are specified as WAN ports can only be WAN ports. The interfaces that are defined as LAN ports clearly stay as being LAN ports. The NSG 300, the ports can be used as you like. They're spread out. Although it says 2 WAN and 6 LAN, in fact there are 8 ports, and there's no, you get the flexibility. So if you wanted more than 2 WAN ports, you could have it. And obviously it's got much higher firewall throughput inspection and much higher VPN and UTM throughput as well. So those are the 4 physical devices. And this is just a summary table of what comes with each device. Some other features that are very specific to the security gateway are, as I said earlier on, smart VPN provisioning, UTM scanning, VPN connection topologies. Once you've got the VPN set up, you get a graphical view of what the VPN is, and that does help substantially when you start drilling down and working out if there are issues and so on and so forth. And obviously you've got antivirus and application control that we've mentioned earlier on. One of the really nice things with the Nebula Control Center and the application control, content filtering, so on and so forth, that you can literally click and drill down on the pie charts, on the applications, and it's very straightforward. I'm hopefully going to show a demonstration towards the end of this if it works. If not, I've got all the demonstration facilities for you to have a go yourself, so there's no problems. This is showing basically where people have been going to, how many hits there are, what time they are, and just pointing out, obviously you can do it over the last day, the last 30 days, all the kind of things that you would like to find out about. You can do it on the Nebula Control Center gateway interface. The other thing we can do is analysis. So you can drill down from a pie chart, see where all the data is being used, perhaps try and do some capacity planning on your network links. So if you find they're getting saturated and busy, you can start drilling down, see who's using what. If it's a particular user that's wasting bandwidth, then obviously you could throttle that or control it, or if it's fully justified, then you can go forward with a request to get your links upgraded perhaps. But you can get all of this from these kind of analysis type features within the gateway interface. And this is just showing a different view. So if you've gone to somewhere that you shouldn't go to, content filtering can show you that it's been blocked, can show you what client IP address made the access, so you can trace back and find out what's been going on. And you can do that in relation to viruses as well. This is just showing the EICAR test virus file. Obviously it's been hit by this particular IP address many, many thousands of times. But it's all very straightforward stuff, drill down GUI, a modern GUI, simple to use. So one of the things that I just mentioned is the easiest way I found to get used to the actual system is to log on to the Zyxel Nebula demonstration. So if you go to the link at the top, you'll find that there's a Nebula demonstration account. Log in with the username and password on there, click login, and then you'll see on one side the Nebula Control Center. You just click go, and then you're into the Nebula Control Center. what I would say then is go and choose, if you choose the New York site, then select the gateway, you will then be able to have a look at the monitoring and the configuration of the actual gateway itself. So these slides will be available afterwards, but this online demonstration site is really good, and it helps you build up your own picture of how all these features work. So once you're logged in, what you will see is this particular view, and you can see that it initially comes in on the site wide. Hang on, someone's just coming in. Oh, no. Sorry, bear with me. So you've still got the access points and the switches, but the gateway is the one you want to click down on to get an understanding of what the gateway is all about. There we go. Sometimes people ask us what the ordering and the part numbers are. So I've basically created a table on here of what all the part numbers are. You will see the actual physical devices are the top 4 lines. Then you've got things like perpetual licenses. So to convert the NSG to have a lifetime professional pack license, you would go for that one. There are also time-based licenses if you prefer that type of licensing system. There's also a credit-based license, which is the NCC points. And then there's also the security pack licenses at the end. The security pack licenses, you really need to renew them after the first year, because all of the content filtering, antivirus signatures, and so on and so forth, they are only updated once you've got a valid security pack. It's very important to point out, going back to the beginning, the purchase of an NSG device includes a 1-year security pack, and it includes a professional pack. So for the first year, everything is taken care of. Obviously, at that initial purchase point, you can buy additional years, so on and so forth, but the first year is included. One of the things I just said is that there's some handouts at the end of the webinar. Basically, there's a spreadsheet which gives you the feature matrix of all the parts. There is a Nebula Professional Pack feature list PDF, and there's hopefully PDF file that helps with Nebula licensing, because I know it can be quite involved because some people have raised that to us, but hopefully these handouts should help with that. Then another thing is we want to make sure everyone's aware of, in August of this year, there's going to be an NSG 100 bundle promotion. So essentially, if you buy this bundle promotion, what you get is an NSG 100 with 2 years worth of professional licensing included, and 2 years worth of the security pack license. So essentially it's an NSG with 1 year and 1 year, and then we add the additional 1 year professional and 1 year security pack license. So the key point is it's an NSG 100 with 2 years of fully licensed support. And so that's the actual end of the presentation. I'm just going to quickly shoot on to a few more slides. I'm not going to go over these, but I'm just going to say these are actually in the slides. So basically all of the other Nebula components are added on to the end of this presentation, just because I thought it would be useful if people want to know what a complete solution of Nebula parts is. All of the parts at the end of this slide will help. So that's the gist of why that's there. But anyway, the slides themselves should be given out. And has anybody got any questions at all? If anyone's got any questions, let me have a look. Hi, Chris. Do you know if are there any questions at all?
No, there hasn't been anything, shall I say, written on the chat room, but obviously if anyone does have a question, then feel free to put something on there.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. As I said, the slides will be sent out, so it will have all the part numbers, demonstration URLs, and so on and so forth. And obviously, if there is anything that you need help-wise with it, or you want a demonstration or anything like that, then you've got our contact details at the beginning of the slide. And thank you very much for your time, and hope to meet you at the next webinar, perhaps. Thank you very much indeed. Cheers, everyone.